Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And we got another hot one for you today. Before we get into all of that, Zoe's got some shout outs.
In fact, I do, sir. I would like to thank all the listeners for listening. Thank you for riding along on this journey with us. Worldwide, we see you. We appreciate you. Let's get it.
All right. Hey, today we're going to be talking about how much of your thinking is actually not your own. So strap in. Let the kings talk about it. All right, good people, and welcome back to another edition of Kingly Conversations, man. And as I am every single week, you know who it is. It's Alan.
What up? It's your boy Twine, aka Twine. Ask me about my podcast, man. It might be some information.
It's bring him into a Calvin D. Hill.
Let's go.
All right. So today we're going to be asking the question, I guess, how much of your thinking is actually not your own? Because I think that for the vast majority of people, they would. Well, I'll put it this way: it's just like one of the bullet points in there is talking about. I think people are really susceptible to groupthink, especially. How can I say this delicately? Depending upon you're more likely to fall into groupthink depending upon your education level. Right, because I heard it said one time, right, that when you don't know anything, everything's a conspiracy. Right, everything's a conspiracy when you don't know how anything works. So I was just wondering, it made me wonder, well, how much of your thinking is actually something that somebody else, like you didn't read a book and come to this conclusion yourself. You didn't read a couple books and say, okay, well, between these two, I think this makes the most sense. Somebody said something to you,
and you went with it.
Yeah, you just went with it. Oh, that sounds good, yeah. Just like I never forget. Now, people can say what they want, right? And I know people will think and say what they want about what I'm getting ready to say, especially if they are from the copper-colored community. Because now this, and the reason I think I didn't fall into this on this particular topic, on this particular line of thinking, is because it was something I didn't even hear until I was an adult. Like I never even heard it, but that, you know, we don't say picnic because of what it actually was. Except you could research that and find that it's not even an American. It's a French word.
And you think that's one of the examples for us?
I think it is because we don't. So we don't even think about it. We just like, yeah, that sound plausible. As soon as it sounds plausible, we just like, yep, we believe that. Without even saying, is what this person telling me, which is why I tell people even about the podcast, like, don't even listen to us. Like, whatever we might have said, go look that up too.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure I've always, well, not always. Okay, let me backtrack. Since my time in Iraq, I have always wanted to make sure that the thinking that I was living my life on was conclusions that I had come to.
I have a question.
Yep.
So what is it in Iraq that made you change your way of thinking?
You know what it is. It's the same event. It's the same event.
Which event is that?
When I found out that Christ was not born on Christmas. I keep saying this. Like I don't think y'all understand the degree to which it shook my very foundation.
That boy was shook.
Why did hold on, time out.
Because I always thought that I was smart. Always. Because I was always well read. I hadn't read that. But I was always well read. I had, even as a child, I've been like, I loved to learn. So to be duped in that way, that was how it felt. To be duped in that way, to be led astray, bamboozled, hoodwinked. My 22-year-old mind, 24-year-old, 23-year-old mind said, never again will I let somebody else's way of thinking automatically be my way of thinking. And I think a lot of people allow other people's way of thinking automatically become their way of thinking. Not that the other person's way of thinking is wrong, but did you even consider that it was before you made it your way of thinking? Because we all get influenced, right? We all get influenced by all the people around us. We get influenced. There's no real way around being influenced. But did you even consider that when somebody told you about the word picnic, that they were incorrect?
Okay, but I feel like some things are more important than others to me. And even though I was always taught what picnic, like you said, from the culture, from parents or whatever else, we say picnic this is where it came from, and it doesn't. Okay, I never went to go look because I never used it.
You use what? Use the word.
I never used picnic. We always said cookout.
Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. So now I will say, for those that are going to go look it up, that doesn't mean people did not have picnics at lynchings.
Right.
Because they did, but the word predates that. The word itself predates that.
Give them another example of group thinking. Don't use that Christmas one either. Because that's what
Christmas one. I mean, I can't. Zoe's the one that brought it up. I wasn't even gonna say anything about it. But you know,
but that kind of okay.
Zoe actually be the antagonist.
How would someone
here's another
overcome that? If all you heard in school, all you've heard in society, you see the government acknowledges it this way. Everywhere around you says this. How are you going to combat it? When they're teaching it so many places. Until you find the information, you come up on the information, and there's like, ho. Because you can do that with 100 things.
You can do that with a lot of stuff. In the world we live in today, the only way that you can't find the information is if you don't choose to.
True.
It's not like it's 100 years ago where somebody was hiding it from you. These days, it's very difficult to hide anything, right? They still trying to hide Epstein like it's not 1,000 pictures of this dude with Epstein.
My file's on the desk. I'm gonna look at it as soon as in the morning, and then you're gonna say, "Oh, that wasn't one file. We was wrong."
No file,
shut up.
File. I'm not in the picture with a file.
Oil. Somebody
what is done in the dark will eventually come to light. Oil. So
facts.
So for somebody today to be like, "Oh, I didn't know," it's only because you didn't choose to know. You didn't choose to ask the question. Now, I will say a lot of people don't even know they should ask questions.
Right.
But because of my experience, I question everything.
People aren't taught to ask questions, bro. People aren't taught.
You said, how would you know to ask questions? Question everything.
Man, you'll be questioning everything.
You think that's part of critical thinking and the lack thereof?
I think it is. That's why I believe everybody should be taught critical thinking in school. But I know it's not going to happen because they don't want people thinking anyway.
Right. So you have a whole system, a 12-year system.
Yes.
Of teaching people not to think.
You know what's crazy about that?
And I know, right?
It's a 12-year system to teach people not to think, and then a 4-year system after that to teach you to think.
Interesting.
And you know, which is also the reason why I think they're trying to, because I believe, yes, I think more people should want to go into the trades, but I also think that doesn't mean you shouldn't want to at least go to community college or take some coursework after you get out of school, because they ain't teaching. Only thing they're teaching you now is SOLs, and if it ain't an SOL, they ain't teaching it.
It sure ain't
They gonna
teaching
get no
cursive.
money if they don't pass them tests.
How much of your thinking is affected by the people around you that you deal with
A large portion of it.
on a consistent basis?
A large portion, especially if you're around people a lot. Because even if so here's the problem, right? If you're in a group, I mean, let's say we were all in a group. You know, maybe we would call it Eclipse or something. But we were all in a group.
Ugh. Go ahead.
If my thoughts are different than that of the group, it makes it difficult for me to voice those different opinions, because it's always going to be 2, 3, 10 against 1. So most of the time when you find a group, unless they don't talk about anything, which happens, we just go play basketball together. We won't do nothing else. Nope, I don't know these people for real. We go play basketball together, or I see these people at the gym. We don't know nobody till outside the gym, but at the gym we cool. Then I think a lot of it is going to be influenced by the people around. I mean, there's no way around it. We've talked about it before, that you will be the average of the 5 people you associate with the most. That includes your thinking.
So with education,
Yep.
So with education, you're saying that helps people not fall into the groupthink category, correct?
Because you know other things.
Eh,
It's only because you know more things. Now listen.
I just say that
I don't agree with that one, but
in a way, it just helps you broaden the way you think, to allow you to not be as susceptible to groupthink than, like you said, the uneducated.
I didn't say they were uneducated.
No. I'm saying
Less
no.
education.
Less formal education. Touche.
no, but see, even with it still goes back to your first point with the group thing. I think even the educated have that same group thing on some levels. Even though you may be exposed to more information, you still have the tendency to group think a certain way.
Like when you
I don't think that's limited.
Go ahead.
I don't think that's limited to just education. I think that's a people issue. People have group think. Like, people, once they're in a group or become a part of a group, education, people with degrees think a certain way. People with master degrees think a certain way. People with doctorate degrees think a certain way. I think no matter what category you use, that's a human behavior to group think over time, unless you actually take the time to not fall into the trap of the group thing in certain conditions, because not all things are bad in group thinking. Some may be horrible, especially when you're talking about voting for people that's going to destroy the nation. I mean, that's just,
or storming the Capitol.
I mean,
let's move on.
But he tried to use that for education point.
But
my thing is, it's a human behavior.
It is a human behavior, and it's not even a learned behavior. It is ingrained in our DNA, because how else were you going to stay alive?
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you couldn't want to be an individual. Like, now we value individuality, but for hundreds of years, thousands of years, being an individual got you eaten. Right. So it's been in our DNA for that long. I mean, because who want to be on the outskirts of the camp getting mauled by a lion?
I mean, honestly, this personally sharing, like, groupthink has been something that's been taught at a very early age. From my opinion, especially in a household that I was raised in, it was more of a, I wouldn't say it wasn't a cult mentality, but it definitely, definitely had their stigmas. They definitely had their way of thinking that fell on the younger kids, such as myself. So the way they thought is the way I grew to think. But when I got older, I had to unlearn all that stuff because of their influence, and it may have been positive, it may have been negative. Either way, they were still like the direct influence that I had in the small circle. So your family and how you deal with them, I believe that also would fall under a group think type thing, because you got um one individual. No, never mind. No, because some people that's in the family, man, they don't really have a group think, especially me now. So I digress. I'm just thinking like how early in life does group think actually start, to like how when we get in how we get influenced by the world at an earlier time in life is what I'm trying to say.
I would think that if you have siblings, it probably started earlier than if you, certainly much earlier than if you were only child, because you were born with friends, and so
Yeah.
and if they were like older siblings, at least in the beginning, most people look up to their older siblings. At least like 2, 3, 4, 5. Not like maybe not at 15, 16, 17, but and so um they're gonna hold a lot of um influence over your way of thinking, and
Yeah.
and really over how you. I remember um at one point in time, my dad thought, I don't know why he thought this, but he thought that one of my cousins was going down a path that I didn't want to follow. We'll just say, and he thought that somehow my cousin was going to influence me to start doing the same thing. And I was like, well, you must not know your child, because I ain't going to jail for nobody else other than me.
You don't want, you don't want to go to
You
jail.
know what I'm saying? We
You
ain't
don't want to
doing
go to
nothing
jail.
together. Like if I'm going to jail, I was the mastermind. I'm not going to jail for somebody else's for somebody. But I've always been that way. Like I'm not going to jail for somebody else. I'm gonna go to jail for something I planned, I executed. I might have brought other people into my plan, but I ain't finna be a part of somebody else's plan because I'm probably gonna think it's a bad plan.
Calvin,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you would have wanted to be in the ministry if it wasn't for your family?
100%.
Okay.
And really, it's not a I have to come back and explain that to y'all on a different
That's
podcast,
fine. No, I'm just trying
because
to make. I'm just,
it's a to me, some things aren't for me. Some things are a choice, and some things are like purpose in life.
not influenced.
No,
Okay.
because it's something. I'm not saying this is my answer. I'm just saying I need to explain the whole thing with that question for me. So it's a lot more than just influence.
What about the Marine Corps?
Yeah, yes, definitely. That's 100% influence, because the only reason I went to the Marine Corps because I was trying to go in the Air Force and the Navy. My brother said I went to the Air Force and they told me I had to sign over all rights to Caleb unless I couldn't go in, and I didn't want to do that. And so the I told my brother about the situation, and I was about to be homeless at the time, and he said, Calvin, if you can do Marine Corps boot camp, if you can get through Marine Corps boot camp and come back home, nobody else will be able to tell you anything in life. Like, you would not look for anybody's approval for nothing. I'm serious. So serious. This is the only reason I joined the Marine Corps. And he was right. I'm
That's what I
sorry.
was gonna say. I mean,
He
it is
was
true.
right.
It's one of the things you get
Because
from it.
after that, I really didn't care what anybody thought of me after that.
Ain't nobody tell
Because
you nothing.
it became it's worse. It got worse over the years because it's like, I'm like, well, you go do it and then come back and talk to me.
Right. I mean,
I tell you, I can say that about a lot of stuff now. So people got to, you just have to deal with me where I am now. It's like, okay, I hear you, I understand. Go do what I did, and then come back and talk to me.
Makes sense.
Most of them won't and don't have time, so keep it moving.
Yeah. So I mean, so it's I'm trying to think of. I mean, there's not a lot that I can think of. Only a couple times where somebody influenced my decision into doing a thing. One of them, this is probably why I'm not like that. As far as like other people having so much sway over what I do, is because I had a situation when I was living in North Carolina where some friends, we vandalized some property.
Hey, bro.
That thing over 30 years ago.
Hey, bro. Come on, man.
Statute of limitation.
Let's not do this, man.
He can
Come
tell
on,
it.
man.
Go ahead, tell it. Statute of limitation. He can tell it.
So, and we got caught.
Mm-hmm.
And we got caught doing it. It was an abandoned trailer. And we got caught. And I remember being so terrified. One, that my parents would find out, because I was the kid that never wanted really to disappoint their parents, which I know a lot of children are not that way. I never really wanted my parents to be proud of their creation, right?
Baby boy.
And, I was an only child. It wasn't like I had siblings or anything at the time. So I mean, we're talking about elementary school age.
Early.
Yeah. Now I think I might have been in 3rd or 4th grade. Might. Because my parents were still together. So I know it was before 5th. So
vandalism.
So after vandalizing that trailer, I don't even remember if I hung with those people anymore, like at all.
You probably didn't.
I probably didn't, because I know. I mean, I'm not
jail material.
I was never into getting in trouble. Let me just say that. I wanted to get away with stuff that I did, and if I didn't, I wasn't. We ain't doing this again together. That's for sure. But that was the last time I can remember being influenced. Everything else after that would have been my own choice, right? Even because meaning that I might have been around the influence and just wasn't doing what they were doing. It's the reason why I was never really involved in a whole lot of fights, because there was never going to be a situation where it's like, oh, we jumping people, or I'm gonna be involved with people getting jumped. Because I was one thing's for certain, and two things for sure. If I even get wind that y'all talking about jumping somebody, it's gonna be a one-on-one. Because I'm gonna talk this down to a one-on-one. You got beef with him, all right? Well, then y'all fight it out. I'll be right here to make sure nobody else jump in. That was always my position. Ain't nobody else see nothing, right?
Nah, bruh.
I never did. When I lived in Panama, sound like I lived in a bunch of places, right? But when I lived in Panama, this dude, I can't remember his name now, but he wanted to jump my best friend at the time. So I was like, nah, that ain't happening. Y'all gonna fight fair and square. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure of it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was completely opposite, my guy. Completely opposite. I was influenced by everything when I was younger, coming up in these streets, man. Doing a lot of stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. I don't care if it's a statutory limit. I ain't saying nothing. You hear me? But I tell you what, I was definitely influenced by a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have followed.
That sometimes is what happens when you get caught up with the group.
Well, I mean, for me though, I'm gonna be let's be real. With my history and my past, I really didn't mentally or psychologically. I was lost, so therefore, I was looking for things and attaching myself to things in regards of groupthink that would put me in a pickle. put me in predicaments where we're, riding 4-5 cars deep to somebody's house because they did something, and we, we just want to scare some people and pull them out their house and beat them around a little bit. But anyway, stuff like that, man. So
to the front yard.
just to say that, depending on who you're around, and depending on your mindset, like y'all said, you definitely will get into some things in regards to groupthink. Now, groupthink, it is not necessarily a bad thing, like Calvin said,
right.
But you just have to be aware and conscious of you have to make a conscious effort not to fall into the groupthink, because if not, you're just gonna fall into the category with everybody else and say some of the most ridiculous things that don't make any sense and defies facts and truth. So there you go. I said it.
I don't
if
think
you
it's
in
a
the
problem
group thing, my thing is just make sure you in the right group.
Right. That's
how you know you're in the right group though.
And make sure make sure you chose to be in the group.
Right. That's what my issue has always been. It hasn't been so much as being influenced by others. It's if this is my interest or this is my target and you going the same way, then let's ride.
You talking about if your way of thinking aligns?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if I say I wanted to go, no, I ain't gonna say that on cut. So if I say that we need to get this money, and you was like, yeah, let's go get this money.
Yeah. Okay. See. Okay. How? That's the question. How? how?
No,
go get this
you
money?
trying to get this money?
No.
We down
I'm
the
not, because I have people do that
let's
today.
go.
Hey,
I have
let
people do that
go.
today. People say, "Hey, let's go make some money." How?
Keys open doors, sir. Keys open doors.
Keys open doors. I don't know, man. It's just I think that we talked about. Well, do we talk about media and how that shapes perspectives and attitudes and stuff like that?
Might need to do a part 2. You need
I
part 2
don't
of
even
that
know how
alone.
long. Yeah. That's crazy. Social norms also. It's a way that people are influenced. The do's and don'ts, the unwritten rules.
No, that's a thing.
Especially in our culture, we have things and sayings that go way back until this day. Some people still attach themselves to. So don't stay on the phone when it's lightning outside, because
don't stay on the phone when it's lightning outside.
Yep.
And if you're talking, don't talk too loud, because you're gonna run my light bill up.
And here's the thing. I think that look. I think that at some point this thing happened to somebody, right? And so that's where, because somebody was probably on the phone, lightning struck the telephone pole outside, and because it was a telephone pole, lightning jumped down the telephone pole, shocked their head off.
Got you.
It probably happened at some point. I mean, I ain't looked it up, but I'm like, man, we on cordless phones. What are we doing? Because people certainly just be on there, so it's but that goes back to what I was saying, that people don't think about the stuff that they were told and taught to even to determine whether or not this is true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And whether it's true today, because one of the things that I always tell myself is that just because something was true 10 years ago doesn't necessarily mean it's true today, or something was true 20 years ago or 100 years ago doesn't mean it's true today, because technology has changed, the world has changed. When I mean changed, I mean there are physical changes that have happened. Like the glass that we make today is not the glass we made 200 years ago or even 50 years ago.
Gotcha.
So to think that things have not changed is just naive. Might be willful ignorance.
Well, I will say that in willful ignorance, that's another one we need to talk about. I like the tie-in. In your youth, or in my youth, I should say, I'll personalize it. In my youth, I definitely was susceptible to groupthink, and it's not necessarily one particular thing. There's like different categories of groupthink that you can be in, so it don't have to be one solid one. issue or one perspective. It can be multiple perspectives and different types of groupthink. Again, depending on your settings and who you're around. So groupthink is definitely broader than just, one person being susceptible to one groupthink. A lot of people have multiple things that they have groupthink mentality. So shout out to them, whoever you are, because I know you out there. And when I got older, I definitely stopped the groupthink. I didn't stop groupthink, but I definitely made a conscious effort not to fall for the groupthink mentality, and I try to always find a way to look at things in different perspectives. That way, I don't get caught up in just one way of thinking and mindset.
I mean, I think with social media, groupthink's probably gotten worse because it's a lot easier. I mean, I guess social media would be media, but a lot of people just go and find echo chambers of people that already they believe
Agree. Yeah.
agree with what they agree with. And so
Yeah.
then when people start saying off the wall stuff, you just agree with it because you didn't agree with all this other stuff already that they said. That is like, well, they must be maybe something I don't know about it that they do know about. Nah. Like I tell people all the time, hey, just because somebody got a lot of money don't mean they know nothing about nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know nothing about anything else just because they might have made money in the insurance industry. That don't mean they know nothing about how to have a stable marriage for you.
Right.
It just means they know how to make money in it. So take their advice on how to on the insurance business if you are also in the insurance business, but it doesn't really mean that you can utilize all their ideas from every part of their life or that they write about anything else. And we don't even know if they were necessarily right about insurance. They might have just outworked everybody else and been you might have just outworked everybody else and been in the right place at the right time. They might have been in front of a trend, and then they were just one of the few people that jumped on that trend. I remember it was a story about A.L. Williams, who ran his entire insurance business on the idea of buy term and invest the difference. That was their entire rallying cry. It was life insurance company. They were saying buy term life insurance, and you should invest the difference in what you would have paid for whole life. Now here we are 50 years later, and that trend has reversed.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people, one, they didn't invest the difference anyway. They just bought term, and that was it. They bought term. They didn't do anything else with that. They just bought term and then spent the rest of the money on a Cadillac or something. But they didn't actually buy term and invest the difference, which was what the rallying cry was. So I think that a lot of times when we hear stuff, we should evaluate what we've heard, but that requires us to do some work on our own part. I remember when one of my wealth mentors or business mentors, he says you should read all the books and make up your own mind.
For sure. I agree.
Read all the stuff, make up your own mind. Because like Kyle said, groupthink isn't bad. It's just, is this groupthink leading me in the direction I want to go, or is it going to cause me to get laid off because I voted for the wrong person?
Oh God. Shout out to the federal downsides, man. Shout out to them.
More coming. Or am I going to
Yeah.
lose my Medicaid? Or am I going to lose my SNAP? All because I voted against not just my own interest, but the interest of a lot of people.
True.
I don't care about these people because they don't affect me. Okay.
Group think. It ain't me, it's them. All right. So with that being said, any closing remarks? That actually sounded like it was a closing remark. So I have nothing.
I was
Hey,
instructed
the way he
to cue the music, so I was susceptible.
the way he timed that, it was good.
Yeah, of course. To perfection. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this ride. Groupthink. Get out there and read a book, maybe, and just do some self-evaluations, man. Separate yourself sometimes. That's all. I ain't got nothing much, man.
Never go.
Hey, we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.